Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Tel Cockerel pre-match pump up. It's a beautiful winter's day. Well, it is for me. I don't care about you. And like a magician, hopefully we can conjure up a win today. And like every good magician needs a beautiful assistant. I have with me the lovely Josefina, uh, the pride and beauty of the Spurs YouTube community. Jose, how are you doing?
I was all right until your introduction. Uh, yeah, no, I'm good. When you're saying it's a nice winter's day for you, what's the temperature for you out there?
It's in Celsius, it's like around 17 degrees. I don't know what
Seven,
that
17 degrees. Okay,
Celsius.
well, uh, okay, yeah, but for us here, it is winter, and I think we're lucky if it's 2 degrees out where I am at the moment. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, but apart from that, yeah, no, I'm really good. As always. I look forward to you hosting the show and what you've got to, and you getting up to your mischievousness. And also, it's game day for Tottenham, and I always look forward to that. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Game day is always a great day. Um, uh, this is the link to join. Anyone who wants to grab a membership, please make sure you do so. Your support is much appreciated. And also make sure you smash a like on your way in, just like the boss man says you should. Um, and let's see, we have in the chat, Kiwi Spurs is here. I haven't seen Kiwi Spurs before. So hi to Kiwi Spurs. Big up, everybody. Come on, you Spurs. Hi to you, Kiwi Spurs. Shamtan is here saying, good morning, Mr. Bossman, Jose, lovely lady Ash. Ellie is not here, unfortunately. She's not well. Shamtan, I hope she gets better soon. We send love and luck to Ellie so that she gets well. We are all well, luckily. And then Finn is here saying, big up Ash, Jose in the chat. Massive game today. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, it is. It is a massive game. Oh my god, it's such a massive game, Jose. Like to me, hi Dragon D's nuts. Love the name as always. Um, Jose, to me, this game is so very important. And like Dekaru's saying, all I want from tonight is to see some consistency, Let's see a second. Well, we haven't got a second W in the row in the Premier League at least.
Yeah.
But like I would like to see it. And I'm sure you would like to see it. What do you think? Like, what are our chances? Because I always hope for a Spurs victory, but we've had our troubles away, and it's been a little hard. And you know, it's it feels like Fulham is a difficult team. Marco Silva's a difficult manager. They have a bunch of good players. Um, what do you think about this game? What are your thoughts?
Uh, Firstly, can I just go back to Kiwi? If you're still here, mate, I stayed up till the early hours of this morning to watch our first Test victory against New Zealand this morning, and Jake Bethel got his maiden 50. So it was always good to watch England win this morning. I'm sorry for you Kiwis. Um, yeah, today's game. Um, right. We are a different beast at home. It goes without saying. We are a different beast at home, or we have been this season. I do sometimes feel that some of the results that we've got away from home haven't gone our way, and we haven't got what we deserve from some of the away results. But the record books will show exactly what the scores are. You know, it won't tell you that you played well from away from home and you lost. It will just say Newcastle 2, Tottenham 1. You know, and it will say things like that. So today, what I'm hoping is that we do get the consistency that Dekari talks about. We talk about consistency all the time, I think, as a community. I think everybody's on the same page when it comes to Tottenham and stringing some results together. Not only in the league, I mean, the way that we look at it is that we look at it in all cups because earlier on this season we had a run of 5 games, 4 or 5 games without defeat in all competitions. But now we're really concentrating on the league. We want to pick up points in the league. The league it's quite a weird one this year in the sense that I called it before the start of the season. I did say that I felt the league was going to go like that. It was going to condense, and that you wouldn't have this runaway people all at the top, and then there'd be a next gap and a next gap. I mean, it's still early days. We're only what are we today? Will be the 13th game in the Premiership. It's week 13, but even now, if you look at the table and that, it's so tight. It's so tight. So yeah, we need to start getting consistency. And like I keep saying, I'd like to see us go on a run. It doesn't have to be the 18 game winning run, but I'd like
Yeah.
to put a 4 game winning run and
Yeah.
a draw, maybe 2 more wins after that. A draw, maybe then take a loss if we have to, and then
Yeah, just a small unbeaten run in pockets,
yeah, yeah, and just build upon, you know, build upon what we can. But it seems to be that we stutter. And when you looked at, I mean, I don't know if you get match of the day in India, but I looked at match of the day last night. Quite a fast forward. I just watched the goals and just kept fast forwarding it because I had no interest in what happened yesterday. And when it came to the end, they show you the league table. And when they show you
yeah,
the league table, then on the right hand side, they put the green for a win, red for a loss, and grey for a draw. And I looked at it
yeah,
there and I thought to myself, in the last 5 games in the league, we've won 3 and lost 2. So we've got 9 points, right, in the last 5 games. And then I looked at Arsenal, and Arsenal had 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. So we've actually made a point on Arsenal, but it's about getting the greens and more greens along the column rather than them reds. So yeah, we've got to become
yeah.
more consistent. And I'm hoping that today, because I'm not going to talk about it yet, but I'm hoping today we continue where we left off in the Premiership last weekend.
Yeah, I agree with that. And this club has clearly broken Ben. He went from Eeyore to numb. So, Ben, come back to us. We love you. He's saying, "Morning, everyone. I am relaxed. If we win, great. If we lose, I just don't care anymore. I am numb." Uh, uh, let's hope that we do win because we want Ben back. Go on, be yourself, Ben. And Spurs GCTV is here saying good morning, Ash and Jose. It's game day. Let's get behind the boys, and of course, come on, you Spurs, absolutely. And Dekaru makes a good point as always, saying Fulham always play against us. This will be a tough one. Yeah, like Adama Traore. I don't know what happened. There are some players, okay. I do not know what happens to them when they face Spurs, but they just become like really good. Shamtan saying it's December and all I want for Xmas is 5 Spurs wins in a row. Fingers crossed, Shamtan. Have you been good this year? Because we need this. Um, and then Dekaru saying apart from Liverpool, the PL table is so condensed. Yeah, it is. It is pretty condensed. Um,
I'm hoping Shemtam has been good because all I get for Christmas is coal.
yeah. Yeah, same here. I don't think I've been good enough for to get what I want for Christmas. Like coming to another point. Nikki was saying about consistency. Last year we were not in Europe. We left the cup really early, and because of that, we had a really good start to our season. But as always is with Spurs, in December, we rack up like November, late November, early December, we start racking up those injuries like we did in that Chelsea game last year, like we're doing now. And, slowly but steadily, it feels like our form dips. And last year, the decline was more sudden because we were doing well simply because we were not in Europe and we had a whole week to prepare for the game. Do you think uh, that's the problem, perhaps, with the consistency? Like that, when we're competing in Europe and our squad is stretched thin, inevitably, like every other squad, we get injuries in December and then we just dip from there. Do you think that's what it is?
For me, it's a lack in squad depth because I've said it. I think that at the transfer window from the summer, Um, whether it's because we couldn't get the players that we wanted in, and we didn't get the right type of players, or they weren't available, or we couldn't bring them in, whatever it is, I felt that we're 3 or 4 players light in the summer. And now with that, with the players that we had to move on for varying reasons, it meant that with the homegrowns, and it's only ever Tottenham. I never hear anyone else that's playing in Europe come up with, oh, they've got homegrown problems, or they don't have um, academy trained players. And but every time Tottenham appear in Europe, I always hear the same stories all the time about homegrown academies and stuff like that. Look, we're light by 3 or 4 players. As I said this at the end of the transfer window, and with that, it means that squads that we pick invariably, you look at Europe, and in Europe we only got a 23-man squad because we had to go light because we didn't have enough of these academy trained players or homegrown and academy trained players. So therefore, you know, and the players that we bought are really young as well and inexperienced. To to be fair, are inexperienced, and like that, when you then go to change your team up and play in these different competitions, we've suffered for that. I mean, you're hoping that with a lot of the youngsters that we've got, you're hoping that they pick up experience now, so and going forward they gain strength and they get better for it. But I still feel that we're light, and then you get a few injuries like we do. So who we've got out at the moment? We've got Odegaard out, Richarlison out, Van der Ven out, Romero out, Vicario. That's 5 players, and you've already got a thin squad. 5 more players out. So at the end of the day, the consistency is not there because we have to keep chopping and changing. But if these players are going to be out for a length of time, which they are, then it should give opportunities to other players to step up. But because of the amount of games that we're playing at the moment, it's really difficult for them to fill in them gaps and play all their minutes because we're going to have to rotate because otherwise the players are going to get burnout. It's just a case of having a bigger squad. We all screamed last season. Um, like one, we weren't in Europe, and I don't know how people took not being in Europe last season. Some people saw it as a blessing that we could build for this season and build last season. But we went out early in the cup last year in the Carabao Cup to who beat us last year? Fulham. Fulham beat us on penalties. That's when the Fraser Forster got his marching orders from the fans from the club saying it was like a sack of cement going down. And ever since then, he's been much maligned. Although when he's come in to play for Tottenham, he hasn't played badly at all. And then we also went out in the fourth round to City in the FA Cup. So by early February, well, not even then, by early October time, we were only playing 1 game a week. We weren't playing 3, we were playing 1 game a week. And then going out of the FA Cup meant that we played more or less 1 game a week all season, apart from when you had like the odd midweek game and that. But we played 1 game. But this year, we are still in the competitions that we weren't in last season at this time of the year, which means that we're going to have to play 1 game every 3 days, all the way through more or less till the end of January. So it's really, really tight on the squad that we've got, and as I said, you get injuries and the squad depletes itself and becomes smaller. Um, but it's something we're crying out for. I mean, you it's weighing it up. Last year we wanted to be in competitions, we wanted to get further in cups. This year we're doing that, but we just don't have the squad numbers to maintain it. If we were lucky and we didn't get injuries, then we might be talking slightly differently. But it is what it is, and we just got to run with it.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, like, until January, we really can't do much about it. And I can see that Ange is also trying to like play down the January window a little bit in the press conferences. So to me, it feels like it's going to be uh, it's not going to be a very satisfying January. Let's say, let's put it that way. If you think that we're going to buy 2 or 3 players in that window, um Dan is saying, "Oh damn! What if I start being good from today? Will that work?" Well, you can always try. But Dekaru says that if we lose tonight, it's all your fault. Yeah, Shemtan, it's all your fault. Okay, everyone, don't bully Shemtan. Okay, online bullying is a bad thing. If we do lose. Jimmy Hotspur is here saying, "Morning, guys. Chat, big up. It's game day. It is game day. Good morning to you. And the sheriff is in the house, not talking about fishing, strangely, saying, "Good morning, all. Good morning to you, Mark." Um, and then Dekaru saying, "In all honesty, we are probably in about the right spot on the PL table for our squad. I think the one thing we have is we have more potential. That's the hard thing. We want to realize that potential." Yes, as always, Dekaru, we are in agreement. Jimmy Hotspur is saying we are always one player away from crisis. Oh my god, that is so true. Goalkeeper in my head. And then Mark saying we only had 3 cup games last year. Yeah, in total, it was really sad. And then we have Payne like Bane, who just has a half cut smiley of some sort. I can't make out if that's just a ponytail and a half a face or whatever
No,
it
it's
is.
just it's a smile with a. It looks like it's a smile with
Oh,
a
oh.
thing in the corner of the head.
Oh, okay. And then Mamanga is here. That's like a Bollywood, like not Bollywood, but like a villain saying, Namaskar, Aishwarya. Namaskar to you. Mark saying, win loss is mid table form, which is exactly where we are. Yeah, I agree with that. Smash like on your way in, put your feet up and chill. Yep, listen to the boss man. Um, and David's here. Hi, David. In my opinion, squad numbers is only second to not having enough depth in experience ready to perform players. Yeah, so this is the second point, right? It's squad numbers, like academy players and things like that and stuff like that, but also the drop off. Like some Spurs fans would argue that the drop off from Vicario to Foster is a very, very big drop off. The drop off from Udogi or Poro to Gray is, to be fair, Gray has done a good job, but as he's not really a fullback, so that drop off becomes bigger. It's the same in several positions on our pitch. The drop off to Bergwall is also a really big drop off if you consider the kind of midfielders we have in our team. Um, so that drop off is something we should be worried about. Do you think that that's a problem with recruitment? Like, do you think planning is just wrong? This whole like focus on young players and stuff like that.
To me, I'm going to be, in all honesty, I thought at the start of the season, and I might be proved wrong now, but I thought at the start of the season, your Archie Grays and your Bergvals were players that were going to come and put a rocket up some of our players' bums, and compete for positions and compete for places. It hasn't really turned out that way, and whether it's by luck or design, I don't think it's just turned out that way. Um, and I don't know whether it's me thinking, that they should be played a bit more often than what they are. Um, it's them maybe wanting to bleed them in correctly, but we have a thin squad as it is. We have some youngsters, albeit some of them are injured now. But I felt that they might have got a bit more game time and been able to alleviate the pressure. Um, so yeah, the one thing is there probably is a drop off because I haven't seen enough of these players play. Um, the curious thing for me is um, when we've had injuries at left back or in the fullbacks need a rest, even in the league, is you know you've got Jed Spence there, and I know that he's been injured, but he hasn't been injured all season. He's only been injured for about 3 games, surely, and I don't know whether he's had enough game time. And I know that he's a forgotten man of the team, but you've also got Serge Reguilon, and Reguilon could have come in and covered for a doggy at left back, you know. Um, Yeah, the drop off is there in the sense of when we change up our teams, we look like strangers. When we make the changes,
Yeah.
we look like strangers. I mean,
Like the
uh,
Coventry game.
well, not even the car. I'd go to, although we've got 10 points in Europe so far. I don't feel that we've been convincing, and
Yeah.
we've dropped the players. We've done wholesale changes in Europe, especially in the earlier games against Karabag and Ferencvaros, um, against AZ. You know, we've and against Gala, we made the wholesale changes. The one game we didn't do wholesale changes on was Roma, but the other four we made wholesale changes, and we all look like strangers. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's about building, and I think that's what we're doing. We're just building and continuing to build. So sometimes it's awkward that people go in as hard as they do because yeah, we are building. We are still building a team and a squad. So
Yeah, that is true. We are still building. And like I'd like to still have patience. I haven't lost that patience yet. It remains to be seen in the future. But for now, I'm willing to be patient.
on
Take
screen,
my
Ash is as calm as a cucumber.
yeah.
However, I've heard Ash say before that she's lost it. So look at that. She's got smart. She's a smiling assassin at the moment. But boy, if Tottenham let her down, whoa, there's a different side to Ash that we haven't seen. Behind the cameras, there's a different side.
That is true, though. I'm pretty reactionary after a game. I'll just be like, "Oh, they are playing." Sack the manager, sack the players, sack the board. But like otherwise, once I calm down, I'm fairly good. Chef Tan's here saying, "Well, everything else is my fault, so that's okay. At least I'm more consistent than Spurs." Chantal, we love you. And and hopefully Spurs can be learned to be as consistent as you are as a viewer. And Jimmy Hotspur's here saying, is Romero fit for today? Ange said in the press conference that he wasn't up to it yet, but he is the closest of all the players that we have that are injured. And Dan is here.
Dan,
Sing morning, Ash and Jose. Big up to everyone in the chat. Please, yeah, please let them win today. My God, I really, really need this. Ange doesn't like playing the youngsters though. Um, yeah, sure. I mean, it is debatable. Like, honestly, what does playing the youngsters mean? To me, playing the youngsters doesn't mean starting them in a Premier League game like for 90 minutes. For me, playing the youngsters means putting them on the bench, having them come on for 10 minutes here and 5 minutes there and 15 minutes there, and then play them in the Europa League and then bed them in slowly. And I think he has been doing that. And that's how every kind of youngster starts, right? Even the famous class of 92, they came in for 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there and 15 minutes here and there. And that's how they, built their way into the team. So I don't think that changes with generations. Dan's here saying 100% Jose with Reggie. And then Ronnie's here saying, hello, Ash and Jose. Hello to you, Ronnie. And then Vindaloo saying, morning, Jose and Ash and chat. Just wanted to say we smashed West Ham again. I thought to put that in. Oh, Vindaloo's here to get his just desserts. After all the trolling that Arsenal has gone through, was it 5-2 in the end? I don't know how much it was in the end. I saw till half time and it was 5-2. And then I was just like, there's no way West Ham's getting back into this game. And then I left it.
they
But
did. West Ham did better than last year because Arsenal went and beat them 6-0 last year, and I think they were 5-0
yes,
up
you
at half
see
time, and they won
improvement.
6-0. So
Yeah, or Arsenal did worse, whichever
it
way you want to
seems
look at it.
West Ham seems to be Arsenal's playground at the moment, and West Ham
Yeah.
won't be happy about me saying that.
No, it's really funny because they come and play like prime Barcelona against us. To be fair, we also beat them by 4 goals, but whatever. Vidlu's here saying, come on, Fulham. Yeah, good. Yeah, good for you, Vindaloo. Jimmy Hotspur saying, the only two decent teams we played in Europe, we drew and lost. True. We did. Personally, I don't think we have the squad to compete on all four fronts. And I think that our European form will suffer as a consequence. We did look tired in that game by the second half. Kulu, especially, looked like he just played a one good half and then he was off it a little bit. Daniel's here saying, good morning, La Familia. One love. Come on, you Spurs. Uh, Good morning to you, Daniel. And David's here saying it's hard enough for young players to perform at this higher level, but when you add huge crowds that want instant success, I can just imagine when these young players walking out into these arenas. Yeah, to me, that was most evident after the Galatasaray game because I went online and I saw a lot of people cursing out Bergwall in the comments. And, I was just thinking to myself, this is a really young lad. And I understand that um, everyone has equal sort of responsibility when we lose, irrespective of your age. If you're old enough, you're good enough, and all that. But at the same time, I felt like there should be some leeway given to someone as young as Bergwall, or even Gray. I've seen fans, like dig out Gray over small things, minor misses and things like that. And I understand it, but I don't support it. Ronnie saying must win today to put together that run. Yeah. David saying Romero would be fit if there was an Argentinian international match next week. I'm just saying, from what I understand, um, he is technically fit. It's just that they're giving him one more week, just so that it's not recurrent, which I think is good because we sometimes bring our players back too fast, in my opinion, and that's where we have Lamella and Richie and all that. Shemta's like, now we know why Ash is out in the middle of nowhere. Her reaction to Spurs losses is scaring all the children. Oh, it is true. My mom, if she says if it's a late night game, it's like 1:30 in the night or something. And I'm at their place. My mom is literally like, go anywhere else and watch it. We don't want to hear it. So it's really funny. And then Ronnie's put in his lineup: Foster, Poro, Radu, Davies, Udogi, Bissar, Madis, Son, Solanki, Kulu. Looks, Jose, I think you're muted.
Exactly the same team that I would have called for. It's the same team that started in Manchester.
Don't give it away. I was going to ask you later.
No, it's what he's just said. He's just put it up. Then you read it out.
Yeah, but that was because he put it out. That's not your
Okay.
team. Don't take
I'm
his
not.
credit for
I'm not.
his team.
I'm not. You can talk to me later about it.
And then Dekaru saying and started more when more earned it. It didn't work out at all well. We need to take time with the youngsters. I've been enjoying seeing Bergwall come on late recently. Yeah, same here. I agree with this, Dekaru. Dekaru and I, we are on the same frequency. Mark,
Zen.
yeah, yes.
Zen.
Mark saying it's good to see that the building of the 1 billion stadium has led us forward to buying a load of kids with no experience. Yeah, I agree. Like, honestly, like sometimes I miss White Hart Lane so much. I felt like the atmosphere was better. I felt like we were in a better place as a club. And, we were at that time when we could have pushed on and won the league. And instead, we spent so much money on the stadium and it became about something else completely. I just, sometimes I love the stadium, don't get me wrong. I just wish that we had waited until we won something and then pushed for the stadium. Um, West Ham improved on last season's result. Rodney is saying, yeah, it was really hard for Wayne Rooney, David. At the start of I think Rodney's being sarcastic here. Um, at the start of the City game in the tunnel, I saw Davies, Son, and Kulu in intense conversation. We need that focus again. Kulu, I think, is the ultimate mentality monster. I really like Kulu's mentality. He runs the most, he gives his 100%, he works really hard. When he's not playing, just everything about Kulu I love. I love Kulu. Matthew saying, hello, bonjour, guys. Bonjour to you, Matthew. And Rodney Trotter saying your confidence and durability is an all-time high in your teenage years. You would think that, but I don't actually agree with that. Like, I was the least confident when I didn't know myself as a teen. It was like a veneer of confidence. Like, I would pretend to be like cocky and confident and stuff, but inside I was just like this bundle of anxieties. And I feel like most teenage people are like that. uh, David saying if you have to remember the likes of Moore Lancashire are used to playing in front of one man and his dog. um, Vindaloo saying I felt sorry with the two goals went. Wait, I felt sorry them when the for them when the two goals went for them. I was like, bless them. Poor West Ham. Everybody hates on them. Don't
That's
know
when they
why.
were.
Kind
That's when they were fighting in the stands because West
yeah,
Ham and Arsenal clashed in the stands as West Ham scored their first goal. Because when
yeah.
Wan-Bissaka,
I can see
the
that.
fighting was at the other end from where Wan-Bissaka scored, and you've got
Yeah.
videos online of the fighting going on and Wan-Bissaka scoring, and people going stopping quickly and going yeah, and then back to the fighting again.
Don't know why I'm kind of scared for the. Yeah, Matthew, I'm in a similar place. It's that weird excitement, but also fear thing that only a Spurs fan will truly understand. And then Rodney saying Laksha and Moore have no lack of confidence. I hope so. I hope that they are confident. They have every right to be. Rodney saying the one who lacks confidence in them is Ange, the other players and the fans. That's where there's a disconnect. I don't think Ange lacks confidence in them. I think it's the job of the manager to look at the bigger picture and protect the younger players and bring them on for a little while, give them enough experience and balance that out. I don't think that Ange lacks confidence in Mikey Moore, especially because he seems fairly honest to me about these things, Ange, and he has praised them all highly in the press conferences. Mr. Bossman is the fact that they play like strangers when he changes the squad down to lack of game time or coaching. What do you think, Jose?
I think it's the lack of game time. I think that when they prep, the majority of time when they prep for matches, they will do the drills and that, and the majority of the time, the drills will be done with the same type of players. Like you'd have your, let's say you'd have your game 11 against the other 11, and the majority of
Yeah,
time you know what your game 11 is going to be because if they're all fit
yeah,
and firing, you know who your 11 are going to be. So when you then mix that around, to me, it's the lack of game time. Uh,
yeah,
if they played more together, then you start learning people's attributes, traits, patterns of play. You start
yeah,
getting confidence in each other. Um, at the end of the day, it's like that. When you although they all know each other, they train with each other. It's different for when they play with each other, and that's why when I say when we made the wholesale changes, we actually look like strangers, even though we're all in the same building. They just look like strangers. I just think you need continuity. You need more of it for them to gel. But like I said, with the competitions that we're in, we're going to keep picking and choosing and changing our teams anyway. So and with the injuries hasn't helped either. But it is what it is, Shemtam. It is what it is.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. And Dekaru saying Ash, though technically I'm not in Asia, we Oceania people, folk need to stick together. Yeah, you play in the Asia Cup, that's good enough for me. We are one people. All the way to Australia. I'm going to include New Zealand in that. I feel like New Zealand also play in the Asia Cup. Um, Vidlu saying, I was looking at the table, your goals uh, goals for and goals against is very good. Shows you should have more points than you have right now. Welcome to being a Spurs fan, Vidlu.
Arsenal after yesterday's result have now gone into double figures for their
Yeah,
goal difference. So there's only 3 teams in the Premiership that have double figures. Arsenal are the third team now.
yeah. Wayne's saying, good morning, everyone.
Morning,
Hope you're
Wayne.
all well. After the game. Oh, amazing. I hope that you bring us luck. So gotta find out if I'm a jinx as I've been to two this season and we lost both them. You know what they say about two negatives, Wayne? They make a positive. So math applies.
So that means
As an
that
Indian,
Wayne must have gone to the Arsenal game and the Ipswich game because they're the only
possible.
two.
No, he
They're
could
the
have
only
gone
two.
away as well.
Oh, okay. I just thought he was going to the stadium at Tottenham. Okay, I
Today's
might be wrong.
away.
Today's home. We're at home to Fulham.
Are we?
Yeah, yeah. All day
I
long
thought
we're at home to Fulham today. We're away to Bournemouth next week, but we're at home to Fulham today.
in my head, I'm still thinking. That's why I asked you the question about away form. In my head, I'm thinking we're away. My God.
Just a public
Oh,
service announcement. Ash, the electric's come back on now.
yeah.
The generator's kicked in. It's working.
I'm sorry, everyone. I have a cold, okay? Don't blame me. My brain's not working right. But yeah, I feel much better knowing we're at home.
The lights have come on. Yay!
Yeah, Spurs do love losing by 1 goal. Dekar was saying, when I played tennis, we used to love when we played the up and coming teenagers. Technically, they were probably better, but we used our experience to mess them up. It was so enjoyable. Where Dekaro's just got a hint of the spice with the sugar there. David saying Real Madrid has just put a spanner in the works of Spurs getting additional finance or a takeover because Madrid's chairman has now said that they are changing the rules and allowing open shares. Yeah, I mean, I did see. What was it? Was Sean's show called? I forget the name of the channel.
Spurs
Uh,
talk show.
yeah, that's the one. I did see something about that there. I haven't followed it up, so I can't speak to it, but I did see it. Um, Cap and pants, yeah, you need tighten up the back and defend set pieces better. Weirdly, we've only given away 3 set piece goals this season. For a Spurs team, that's actually decent, wouldn't you say, Jose?
I think that defensively we've tightened up anyway. The only silly little things that we've got, and I'll keep repeating this, is a doggy down his flank needs to tackle with his left foot and not his right foot. So he's going in with his wrong foot to tackle. And Pedro Porro's got to stop doing the Eric Dyer triangle, putting his hands behind his back, and more worried about doing the triangle pose than cutting crosses. Cut crosses, we won't make mistakes because a lot of the goals this season, last season, people were saying set pieces. This season, it's individual mistakes. It's not necessarily the set pieces. Um, yeah, I think we've tightened up on it. I think if there's a narrative out there that says that we haven't, then they're wrong. I think the figures talk for themselves. The goals for and against column at the moment, and I don't want to put the mockers on this, but at the moment we look kind of good in both. At the moment, in the goals for and against, a lot better than last season. Um, I mean, I can't remember. I don't know how many we've conceded in the league now, but it's not nowhere near as many as what we did last season.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And you know, this is a really controversial opinion, and everyone, please don't come after me. It's not well thought out at all. But the Roma game, um, I feel like if actually you know when we have slower defenders, we keep getting pushed back and back and back and back, and we don't have the sort of training to keep the goal out once we get pushed back so much. So I would have argued, and we've pushed the line back a little bit with Ben Davies and Dragusin in there, compared to when Romero and Mickey were playing that position. I have this argument that actually, if we had a slightly higher line, because our offside traps really work, every time they would keep getting caught in our offside traps. If I have this really controversial take that if we'd actually moved ourselves 5 yards ahead a little bit, we would have actually got done better because we couldn't get the ball out of our own half. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Uh, it's a really controversial take. Don't come at me. I haven't thought this out. I haven't checked the statistics. But I just feel like actually a higher line would have helped. What do you think, Jose?
Um, I think that the, I think even when Van der Ven and Romero were playing, we're not playing as high up as what we have been.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
that we have dropped 5 yards. It may not be enough in some people's eyes, but we've adapted and we have changed from last season. The narrative that we haven't is just absolutely crazy because we have changed. I mean, um, if people want to keep going on about facts, the
yeah,
facts are we've conceded less goals. The
yeah,
facts are there for you. We've conceded less goals. We've conceded less goals from set pieces. The facts are there. All the facts lead to that we have made changes. And to me, I think that even with the two boys uh, being fit, we have dropped the line maybe up to 5 yards. The
yeah,
inversion doesn't. The inversion of our fullbacks doesn't happen as much. You know,
yeah,
we have changed the way that we've played, and we have adapted. What I do find though is when Ben Davies plays, I find serenity,
Yeah.
calmness. We don't seem to be like a hot potato. He just provides calmness to the back four, and people hammer Ben Davies, but Ben Davies comes in and he plays for us. Ben Davies is a 7 out of 10 every day, every week, at minimum a 7 out of 10, steady Eddie, and he just calms everybody around him down. So, for me, it would have been interesting had Romero come back already by now, right? I did say that would Ange consider playing Romero and Davis rather than Romero and Dragusin, because then you're playing Romero on his right hand side, which is his favourite side, and you're playing Davis on his left hand side without having to put a round peg into a square hole of moving around Dragusin,
Yeah.
because Dragusin's predominantly right sided, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
Romero on the left. It would have been interesting, but because he's been out a bit longer than what I thought he would be, it's one of them ones that remains to be seen. I mean, someone was saying that Mickey van der Ven is due back soonish as well. So I don't know. We'll wait and see. But it'll be interesting to see when Romero comes back what he does with the
You know,
defence.
the thing I like about Ben Davies is that, when there's Foster and Ragushin there, I always worry about passing out of the back. But with Ben Davies is a very good passer of the ball. So, he's the only one really in that back line that can, help with distribution, help
Yeah,
with getting the, like the play started. Because in our, like now with playing out from the back, it always starts from, either the last defender or the goalkeeper. And, to set that pattern of play, it's very important to know where the gaps are, and where, if someone's passing back to you, which way to go, where the pressure is coming from, where you shouldn't pass. And I feel like Davies, maybe it's because he's studying to be a manager, has a very good sense of the game. So despite not being as good in terms of talent, etc., as play other sometimes as players around him, or slower sometimes, he, just because he reads the game faster, and just because he has a sense of like game awareness and tactical awareness, he's an intelligent footballer, and that's why we feel calm around him, because he just anticipates really well.
yeah.
That's
I'm still not sold on Dragoshin at the moment. I really aren't. I'm not. He's young. He's still learning the game. The game in the Premiership is totally different to playing out in Italy.
yeah.
It's much, much quicker. You're 20 miles per hour quicker playing in the Premiership. And for me, you're quite right. When Dragusin, when he has the ball, his distribution is not the greatest. It is something he's got to learn to play, and they're obviously it's gonna take time, and they're gonna coach him on it. But every time he gets the ball, I feel that he's really nervous, and I've watched him kick the ball out of play, and that sometimes that's the right thing to do. If you're in doubt, just boot it out. Don't dawdle with the ball,
Yeah.
just kick it out. But then also as well, what I think's worked well for Dragusin is when he first played in when he first got into the team this season, although yeah, more so this season. You could see from when he got sent off in the Europa game, and also in his early games, he was getting really touch tight on players, and by getting
Yeah,
touch
yeah,
tight on the players, they were able to roll their shoulders or roll him, and then they're gone. But if you stand off a yard off the player or 2 yards, then you can see the player, you can see the ball, and if you follow the ball, you can then make your interceptions, your tackles. And I think that in the latter part of now that he's been playing, he's learnt to do that more, so it makes him look a better defender. But yeah, his distribution for me is still way off point of where it needs to be. But it comes with game time, and it comes with learning your teammates, and learning to adapt to the pace of the game and that. So yeah, there's still hope, but with Ben Davis, you're right. He does. He's so calm. Well, he's so calm. And he does start the play out from the back, and he comes out with the ball as well. And his positional sense is really good. And at the end of the day, um, people hammer Ben Davis. But had we not had Ben Davis this season, where do people think we would have ended up so far with all the other injuries we've had? So
yeah, exactly. It's nice to have that calm head. And you need some senior players, also to sort of like be that beacon of professionalism. And I feel like
yeah,
Davis is that as well. Rodney's saying some players develop later on, like Antonio Di Natale, the Udinese player, right? For example, they're the rarity. He was a late bloomer, but they're not the rule, though. I personally was a late bloomer, but my peers were not. I feel that, like, even by today's standards, even Harry Kane would be considered a late bloomer, because like, you have all these wonder kids who are 16 or 17, and Harry Kane, he went around, he had a few unsuccessful loan spells, and by the time he really established himself as a striker, he was 21 or 22, which, uh, to be fair, is considered late in today's market. I mean, saying many Spurs fans unsure about Spurs beating Fulham. Why? I think you only have to look to the Ipswich game and the Palace game. I mean, Ipswich, especially because we were at home. And David's here saying, "Good morning, good evening to you, David. Hope you're having a
Hey.
good day." And then, or well, previous to match day for you, because it'll happen early in the morning, I'm guessing. Uh, Adrian's here. Adrian, you went missing yesterday. Jose went on a hunt for you. Good morning, Ash, and your apprentice intern, Jose. Uh, yes, intern, and the beautiful magician's assistant, Josefina, with us today. Um, Everyone saying good morning to each other, and Coach's Corner is here saying hi, big up to you, Coach's Corner. And Wayne saying Jose got it spot on the Arsenal and Ipswich games, and then just a harmless potato, everyone's favorite potato on the internet. Good morning, evening, everyone. Um, and then Coach's Corner saying, "Come on, you whites." Um, and then David saying, "Where's the sick note, Ellie? Hope she is good." Yeah, Ellie, you didn't put in for a sick note. uh, the boss man should take you to task. And then David saying players are no different than coaches. They need to learn their trade at a lower level first before trying their hand at the higher level. You only have to see John Barnes and Wayne Rooney to see failure. Why was Wayne Rooney a failure?
So far in his
Am I frozen or are you frozen? I, I, I didn't catch that, Jose. I feel like you were frozen. Okay, we've lost Jose, or I have lost everyone. One of the two. Um,
No, you're still here.
can everyone?
You're still here.
I, oh, I am here. Great, great, great. Yeah, you were saying about Rooney.
Yeah, I was saying, I think he's referring to their managerial careers. They've not done really well when they went as became managers as what they were when they
Right,
were
right,
players.
right, right. I was thinking of them as players, and I was like, what? Um. Anyway, um, big up to you, Potato. And then Rodney saying, Rodney apparently, yeah, good for Rodney. I understand, but it's the exception, not the rule. Yeah, I agree. And then Shemtan saying, "Don't worry, Ash, we play at home like we're away anyway." They kind of say my point was that youngsters may be good, but experienced players will know how to deal with them. They've got the skill, but it'll take time and the experience. Yeah, I agree with this. I agree with this 100%. And David saying, I don't think that Ange in recent games is playing 100% Ange ball as he did early in season. You know what it is? I feel like Ange is a good manager like that. First, he got them used to being unafraid, where he was just like, we're going to stand at the halfway line, do of that what you will, and we're going to go gung ho every game. And then after they made the mistakes and everyone went at them, he was like, okay, you've learned what the worst is like. From now on, however we play, you wouldn't be scared of making those mistakes. And I feel like that's what's happening. And I think in the press conference today also, he was like, Johnson, he was telling that it's a work in progress and that Johnson shouldn't be scared of making the mistakes and just going forward. I thought it was a good point. And Dekar was saying last season we were losing by 3 to 5 goals. This season the losses have been by a single goal. It is though frustrating. Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's just one of those things. People are talking to each other. Jimmy's saying Fulham will go above us with a win today, by the way. Hopefully not, Jimmy. Um Jimmy's saying we need to beware of Harry Wilson today and Traore. Why with Traore? Like, I just do not understand this player. Why does he come alive for Spurs? And Peter Kahagius is here giving us a time check saying 9:17
But he's
a.m.
wrong. It's
Melbourne.
PM. It's PM. It's not AM. It's
Yes.
PM. Good evening to you, Peter, mate. I hope you're well.
So Peter's clearly living 12 hours ahead, so he knows the results of tomorrow's game, or I mean today's game.
24 hours ahead, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us what it's like from the future. And then Shamtan saying, "Bring back Emerson. He'll save our back line." um. Yeah, everyone's talking to each other. Wait.
He's got to do
Here
an
we go.
overtime shift, but he was keen to watch the match.
Dan's here saying on train to London Bridge to get to Seven Sisters. This game better be worth it. 3-1 Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, I hope.
Are you meeting any?
I hope it's one of those.
Is it meeting up with people, mate? I hope you are, because it makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah. And then Jose is reminding everyone, smash that like and put your feet up and chill. Subscribe to the channel and join if you can. All of that is good. All the good things. Yeah, people talking to each other, except David, who's always talking to me, which is great. Trust me, living in Leicester, you have to watch Harry Kane at Leicester to believe it. He was so bad, it was beyond believable. Who would know that you become one of the greatest number nines? See, this is exactly my point. You just gotta let people cook, see what happens after putting some faith in someone. And um Shemtan saying, well, the whole Hurricane career show how Levy's talent ID is useless because it has Sherwood that wanted to play him, and Levy wanted to sell him because we had Soldado, or no Goldado, as I used to call him. And then
No Goldado.
and then we have Tottenham going, most players are in their prime by 25, so they need to experience to get themselves ready for that age. I get that point. But Lancashire should be getting games. Lancashire would have gotten a game, but he was suspended in this game. So he couldn't have played even if he wanted to, unfortunately.
Just going back to the Kane, what you said about Kane, Shentam. It's interesting because had we sold Kane back then, he would have been worth 2 bob. He wouldn't have got much money from him at all, because it's not his loans didn't go exactly well at all. So I dread to think how much money we would have got for him, but it would have been a low offer. We ended up keeping him, probably well past his sell-by date at Tottenham, because we weren't matching what he wanted, and we ended up getting the 100 million for him. So yeah, had we let him go when Sherwood was there, we probably would have gone up and got tuppence for him. So just goes to show, man, what happens and how these slight decisions can change and alter people's careers and people's paths.
Yeah, it is true. Dancing, going back to left wing backs and high line, we look much worse. Surely this manager should see this by now. Um, Jose, you want to take that one?
Like I said before, I feel that the inverted wing backs, we're not doing it as much. High line, we're not doing it as much as what people have said. Possession football, we're not doing it as much. I think we have changed from last season. Whether people like the changes or not, or whether people are unhappy with the changes or not, whether people are saying that it's not yielded results or not, the changes have happened for me. On the eye, we're not playing exactly the same as what we did last season. We have made subtle changes. Although I think a lot of our goals that we've conceded this year, and just repeating again, a lot of the goals we've conceded this year are from mistakes, rather than we're getting done with high lines, or we're getting done with set piece goals. It's just individual mistakes that we've made this year that have led to some of the goals. But when you look at the column, the for and against, the table doesn't lie, man. The table doesn't lie. When you look at the for and against column, we look better in the for and against column than what we did last season. So, I know it's early doors. It's only 12 games in. Today will be the 13th game. But I feel that we're on the right path with the goals scored and the goals conceded malarkey, and it's like anything. It's an evolving team. It's the evolving of the team started last year. You got the forming, the storming, the norming. If everyone's into all this bloody business stuff, you've got we're what stage we're at the moment. I don't know, but yeah, we are where we are.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you did not know it, but we also got an investment class. Um, uh, the knower of all things, Jose. But yeah, I agree with you. And lucky number 13, I feel like once you get to that December period and you make it to January, that's when you can really make a judgment call. I feel like before that, any call you make, like if we were making a call in December, then Arsenal would have won the league last year, and Spurs would have been in the top four. Like things would have been looked really, really different in December. So I feel like we should always, like, before we jump to make any conclusions, we should wait until the December period finishes and the transfer window starts in Jan. Rodney has, Rodney, if you collect all of your comments today, that's a lovely little substack on potential. You might want to think about it. Rodney's saying your potential is going to be reduced when you do come into your prime at 25. And then Dan's saying go and meet Alex and Ian. Not sure who else is there. Got tickets off Stel. Have fun, Dan. I hope you have a really good time. I hope we do win the game. Night saying big up, guys, and chat watching from a coffee shop.
Morning,
Uh,
Nige.
I miss coffee. Somebody get me coffee. Sorry, that was a minor aside.
But the
Um,
generator's now working, so you should be all right.
yeah, but I don't have there's only instant coffee available here in the stores, and it feels like torture. Like instant coffee is an insult to mankind,
When did you
especially the
last go? When did you last go to the main towns to get some?
I'd gone about 2 months ago, but I'm out again, and
Right.
I
Okay.
plan to go on holiday New Year time. So I've just been, getting my holidays together for that.
So no
Unfortunately,
coffee,
so I can't go.
no coffee for 6 weeks.
Yeah, no coffee. I missed coffee.
See,
Anyway,
people, there are struggles in life. Ash, no coffee
yeah,
for another 6 weeks.
yeah. Ash doesn't have coffee. Everybody's feeling the brunt of that. Uh,
Put your address in, and people can donate and send you coffee.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Ronnie's saying, gotta watch Iwobi Smith, Rowe, Traore, Wilson. Yeah, they have a really good team. I really like the Fulham team. And then case in point is Harry Kane. He's agreeing with you, Jose. And Decaro saying, speaking of late bloomers, I'm yet to hit my prime. From what I heard of Jose's goal scoring lately, he's yet to peak too. Oh yeah, Jose. Jose is just entering his best years with football. Anyway, that brings us to our lineups. Um, what I know that somebody put that in the chat earlier, but if you could go again, Jose, what do you think the lineup's going to be?
To me, I know that it's going to be different because Fulham will come and play to defend. They're not going to play out open, although that's what Fulham do normally like to play out open. I'm not sure whether they're going to do that today, coming to us. I looked at their lineup from last weekend. What I will say, right, is every team has got strengths and weaknesses, right? And I looked at Man City's team last weekend. I looked at Fulham's team for last weekend, and I just think to myself, I see similarities. Their midfield three, there's no engine there at all for me in the midfield three, like there wasn't for Man City. I look at their players up front and their wide players. They don't scare me to the point. I would have been scared more of Man City's players, and even then, with the formation and the tactics that we used before the game, because this was on a pump up show that I did last week. When I saw the lineups, I understood why Brennan Johnson had been dropped because out of position you go into a 4-5-1.
Yeah.
And obviously Sonny and Sonny worked really hard off the ball last week,
Mm.
but Sonny and Kulu offer you much more defensive solidity than playing Brennan Johnson out there. You play Brennan Johnson out there, and Porro's completely exposed for the whole game, completely exposed. So you know, to me, I would pick the same lineup as what we did against Man City. I would drop Brennan Johnson, even though he scored. I would drop Brennan Johnson and use Brennan Johnson as an impact sub, and I would start with the same team. Bear in mind, if everyone's fit, I'd start with the same team as last week, albeit that Vicario is now out from last week. Fraser Forster would be in, but otherwise, I'm going with the same team as we started with last week. Is what I would do. They'd have Madison, Sarr, and Biss in the engine room. Kulu just does what Kulu does. I mean, last week Kulu was out wide, he was back in the middle. You know, he actually appeared out on the left as well a couple of times. So Kulu just like floats right across that pitch, but when he's playing on the right side, he offers more for us defensively. The other thing about Kulu is Kulu, when he gets the ball, he actually looks up. so, so if you're
Yeah.
looking for a cross, or a pass, Kulu actually looks up. He doesn't play the ball off instinct, if you want, which I seem it's not just our wingers that do it, but a lot of people that play this kind of formation, the 4-3-3,
Yeah.
their wide forwards play on instinct and we just get to wherever they get to and just put the ball across into the box.
Yeah.
I think we need a bit more Garland culture, because obviously the balls that we're doing, when you're playing off instinct, the balls are not reaching Solanke in the box. And I want
Yeah.
to see Solanke being given more chances, so people being able to find him correctly without doing, let's play on instinct, so to speak. So yeah, I'm hoping that he picks the same lineup as last week. Bearing in mind, if you've got no injuries, I would go with the same 11 as from last week. And I think Solanke's
Yeah.
really important. Solanke's really important. I said this before the show, on a pump up show we are Tottenham TV last week. I said that for me, Solanke is really, really important, because Solanke, I want to see him get some goals, because I think that his play deserves more than what he hasn't got the goals in the column, but his play, he presses from the front, and he defends at the back for us. He takes players out of the game with his runs. His link up play, his hold up is absolutely supreme. And he's just missing goals. We just need goals from him, and I'd like to see him being set up and given opportunities this week.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, and I agree with you on the Son off the ball work as well. And I really like, I like the fact that it wasn't just that Ange brought on Johnson as an impact sub. I like the fact that he brought on Johnson and Werner again together. Because it just feels like when everyone's really really tired, and you bring on like two of the fastest players in the league, like instantly it's a game changer, because no matter how fast you aren't, after playing 70 minutes or so, going to be able to keep up with Johnson and Werner. So I really feel like as they're great as a super sub coming on together as a pairing. So I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And off the ball work also becomes less important if the game has been decided in one way or the other by the 70th or 80th minute, or if you just need like one final goal, then you just put Hail Marying it, right? So then in that case also getting Sunny off and putting Werner in makes sense to me. So I think together as a pair they really work, because they're both really really fast. um so
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with you.
last year I said that speed kills, and I kept saying it
Yeah.
last year. Speed kills, and we were getting goals from the speed of our attacks last year. But we've changed the way that we're playing at the moment, and we've changed again. It's another change from last year. But to me, when you've got tiring players, and people have put a shift in, after 60 minutes or so, to bring two speed merchants on, God, it's a potent weapon to bring two speed merchants on. Um, as players get tired, the gaps begin to appear, and and
Yeah.
and that will always happen in latter parts of matches rather than early parts of matches. So to have speed come on off the bench, it's another weapon that you can use, and we did that last week against Man City. And as I said, for me, I like the solidity that we had against Manchester City last week,
Yeah,
where the players did their defensive duties as well. So a doggy, it's no coincidence that a doggy and Porro both played well last week,
yeah,
and it's no coincidence that they had Sonny backing up a doggy defensively, and that we had Kulu backing up Porro. It's no coincidence that them two backing them up meant that our two fullbacks actually had decent games. When they're
yeah,
left bare, then you've got people double bagging you down the sides, it becomes a bit harder. So as I said, to me, I just hope that we pick the same team again for the same lineup. It may be different against Fulham. As I said, it remains to be seen. Fulham like to play out. Fulham like to play out, and they like to attack and play that kind of progressive football. But I'm not sure, and they do it away from home as well. But I'm not sure whether they're going to come and do that today. It remains to be seen. So it could be that you could pick the same lineup, right? But you're getting different football because against Man City we found pockets of space, um, and we might have to work for it today. We might have to work for it, but by the time the second half comes, if you've worked hard enough at it and you've pressed them and you've worked hard and you've made them work hard as well, and keeping the ball is another thing. By keeping the ball, you make them tired as well. So if all that comes into the equation, then yeah, the substitutes would make a big impact for me.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. So does Rodney. I don't. He's saying I don't think Solanke is a great striker, but he is a good striker and he's hard worker and he needs feeding. Yeah, I agree with this. Like, you can't expect that you're going to get a Harry Kane with every transfer. What we do need is a team player who makes the team better, and I feel like Solanke is that person. Uh, and he just makes us stick, and we press from the front, and he's physical and everything else. Good morning to you, Colin. Um, Hope they're doing well and hope you're excited for match day. And Rodney's also saying his turning speed is horrible, though. Yeah, I think some people just have blinkers on when they play. And one is just one of those players who comes with a set of blinkers built in. It is what it is. He is not a first team player, I think. Uh, I don't think he's in the last few weeks been particularly bad coming on. So I will give him his props, even though I'm not the biggest fan, or I wasn't the biggest fan. But I only judge players by what they do on the pitch. I'm not someone who comes out with an agenda. So if he plays well, I will back him. Uh, and then Jimmy's saying Solanke not in top 10 PL players for goals this season. You know what? I feel like it's not about Solanke being top 10 players. It's Spurs. Are we in the top 10 for goals this season? And then our forwards, like as forwards, and like literally everyone in our team until the final midfielder is a forward. So as long as Spurs have the highest number of goals or near the highest number of goals in the Premier League, I personally don't care who's scoring them. And if a player is helping the team score the goals, then that's enough for me. I do think he needs a few more, and I think he
Mm.
could have scored against Roma. But I do think that I still have faith in him. Niles here saying, "Hello, guys, just joined." And he's also reminding everyone to smash that like button and subscribe and share. Nanjumi is saying we paid 65 million though to be a striker. We paid 65 million to improve our team. Personally, that's how I look at it. Do I want him to score more goals? Sure. I would like him to score more goals. But it remains to be seen whether what his effect on the team is. It's like Firmino, right? Liverpool won a title and Firmino had like some 8 goals in the Premier League. So to me, I don't think Firmino was a failed striker in that season just because he had like less goals. because Salah and Mane were scoring them. I just need him to be that team player, who keeps us sticking and presses and is physical and drags defenders away and all of those things.
So
Um,
before we play today, right? I've had to look this up. Before we play today, Tottenham have scored the most Premiership goals. So there's 4 games to be played today, right? And before we kick off ball today, or before any of the 8 sides kick a ball today, we've scored the most goals in the Premiership out of any Premiership team, and we've got the joint second best defensive record or for goals against in the Premiership. The only team that leads the way is Liverpool, have conceded 8, and then you have Forest, Tottenham, and Man United have conceded 13. So we are second best defensively, and we are tops on goals scored before we kick a ball today.
yeah.
And the top scorers, I'm going to just look at that now as well, because someone did ask the question. So I'll let you say hello to Niall Kane and
I
that,
did.
and
I said
I'll wait.
hello.
Oh, hello, sorry, I didn't hear you. Hello, Niall. Hope you're well, sir. Right. So did he say the top 10? Is that what he said? Solanke not in the top 10 Premier League goals. No, he's not. So the top goal scorers in the Premiership this season are Haaland has 12, Salah has 10, Wood has 9. Then you've got Vissa and Embuemo both on 8 apiece. Then you have Palmer and Jackson both on 7, and Cunha. Then you have Ollie Watkins, Jack Larson, Welbeck, Delap all on 6. Saka has 5. Brennan Johnson has 5, and Brennan Johnson is 13th on the list. Brennan Johnson obviously has more than that, but in the Premiership, he's got 5 goals. And looking at the top 19, he's not there at the moment, Solanke. But as I said, for me, Solanke is, yes, we want him to score goals. But the way that I look at it at the moment, yeah, I want him to score goals, Jimmy. We're the top goal scorers in the Premiership. So we are scoring the goals. But instead of looking at the one player for goals, we're looking around the team to get to at the moment to get our goals. His play at the moment has been so good for Tottenham. He does so much work for Tottenham, you know, and it makes an absolute change to have a player where the ball sticks to him. So people fire the ball at him, chest high, hip high, thigh high, calf high, feet on the floor. He has the ability to take the ball, trap it whilst holding a defender off, and that means that we're not losing the ball. And with Richarlison, the ball would bounce off him, the opponent will then win the ball back. So we are doing so well with him at the moment. It just needs to add some more goals to his game, and I'm sure that will come, Jimmy. I have faith that it will come. At the end of the day, he's playing too well not to get goals. But I also think that what we need, instead of playing off instinct for the wide forwards, we need people to take their time, look up, find him, and then put the ball into the box for him. At the moment, I don't think we're doing that. But once we get that right, then I'm sure Solanke will start surging up the charts. But his play outside of goals has been absolutely excellent for Tottenham this season.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with every word you just said, Jose. Niall is asking thoughts on Spurs keeper being injured and Foster likely to play. Do you guys rate Foster? Jose, I feel like you answered this, but just for Niall's sake.
So last season now, when we played Fulham, we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup on penalties. He had a good game during the game. He's always played well, but in that penalty shootout, he looked like he couldn't get down for the penalties. Like when he was diving, he was still, I wouldn't even say mid dive. He was probably quarter dive. The ball's in the back of the net, and then he'd go down, and people said he went down like a tree because he then went down, and the ball had already hit the back of the net. So people like hammered him for the penalty shootout. When Forster's come in and played for Tottenham, he's always played well. It's just that penalty shootout segment that made people negative about him. What I said last week is that people have got to remember Forster's been a professional for nearly 20 years. All right. Forster's played in Europe. Forster's played in the Premiership. Forster's played for his country. Forster's played a hell of a lot of games, and therefore is a seasoned professional. And at the end of the day, is he everyone's cup of tea? Possibly not. Will he come in and let Tottenham down? No, he won't. He's going to try his best for Tottenham. Do we need the choice and decision that needs to be made at the club is, and I don't know how Ash feels about this, but I always see a list of goalkeepers at Tottenham, a long list of Tottenham goalkeepers. So we've got loads of keepers. We've got 4 in the first team squad. Then you look at Josh Keeley, Luca Gunter, and so we've got loads of goalkeepers. It's just now that Vicario's out, Tottenham need to settle on who's going to be your number one and what do we do next season. And do we go for another keeper in January because Forster's out of contract at the end of next season? Do we go for another goalkeeper in January because of what's happened to Vicario? Or do we still keep that on the back burner and do it again in the summer and look for another player to compete with Vicario for the gloves? Or, or are you finally going to give, you gave Brandon Austin a 5-year deal in the summer, and we saw a little bit of Brandon Austin in the pre-season games, and people thought that he did well. I was one of them, that he did well when he played in the pre-season. And he's not in the building again. So, it's decisions that they've got to make. But for me, I don't think Forster intentionally, he'll go out and he'll play his best for Tottenham Hotspur, whether we like it or not. He made some great saves the other night against Roma, and one brilliant world-class save that he made led to them getting another corner and scoring a goal, which was unfortunate because there's no way Forster's fault, So at the end of the day, he will do what he does. He is going to be the number one, I believe, while Vicario's out. So we just got to back him, like we should be backing all our players.
Yeah. And everyone, I'm not crying because of Foster. I just have a cold, okay? So these tears are not tears of sadness for Vicario's injury.
I thought you were a bit of Romero's fan club there. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Sorry.
Yeah, little bit of Romero, little bit of Madonna.
Yeah.
And then Adrian Singh Spurs have only lost one of 14 games at home to Fulham. 9 wins, 10 draw. Wait, can you interpret this number for me? 9 wins, 10 draws, 3. What is 3 for?
3 lot.
Anyways,
Right. No,
only
I think
lost.
I think what he means is that there's one loss, there's 1-10 drawn 3, and there's only one loss. Is I think what he's trying to
Oh,
say.
right. 110 drawn 3, only one loss. Uh, March 2013. Thank you, Adrian, for clarifying that. Niall saying, did you see Spurs getting linked with Tillman, who's on loan at PSV from Bayern, who had a spell beforehand on loan at Rangers in Scotland, got a bag of tricks, plays as a 10. Did you see this, Jose? Jose, I feel like you're muted.
No, I'm reading it. Sorry, I'm reading it. Did you Spurs?
Oh,
I've not seen Tillman play, so I don't know. Who is?
yeah,
I don't even
neither do
know.
I.
I don't know who
Honestly,
he
I
is.
can't.
I don't know who he is. I don't know what position he plays. On loan at PSV. What did he say? On loan at PSV from Bayern. We had a spell before on loan at Rangers in Scotland. Got bags of tricks and plays as a 10. Okay, he plays as a 10, does he? No,
Yeah.
I've never seen him play. But you didn't have to be brilliant to play for Rangers because I think the Scottish League now has gone further down. So where it was
Don't
a
say
two.
this before we play them, Jose.
No. Honestly, where I thought it was a 2-horse race, that title was a 2-horse race. It's now really is just a 1-horse race all the time, and it will be. Celtic don't have to go and buy players to improve their squad. Celtic keep the squad that they've got. These players could play for another 10 years, even if they're in their 40s. They could play for another 10 years, and they could smash that title for another 10 years. I just don't think there's no money in Scotland at all, and you know, I, I don't. Once upon a time, some of your youngsters, like we have youngsters, and they go out on loan. Some youngsters from clubs would go out to Scotland and would get given a chance in the Scottish Premiership to get their match experience and stuff like that. That's not even happening. Even players from England are not going to Scotland anymore to play in the Scottish Premiership because the standard's that bad with all the teams. And the players would now prefer to go to the Championship and League One sides and not go to Scotland. And it's a damning indictment on where Scotland actually are. And it's interesting that Scotland are doing well in the Nations League and stuff like that. And they've had a really upturn in their scores and in their results. But when you look at the Scottish national team, how many of them players in that squad play in the Premiership? Next to none. So
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
what it is, I'm afraid.
Yeah. It is what it is, and our predictions are what they are. So, Jose, where do you stand on the match predictions?
Today,
Yeah, for the game today. There is a game today, Jose. It's match day. It's a
yeah,
match pop up.
today's match, I've gone for Tottenham 3, Fulham nil. Is what my prediction was on Friday's show. Was a 3-0 victory. I don't care who scores the goals. I'm not about who scores the goals. I just want the
Yeah.
win. I don't care about the goals. For me, it's just get that victory and get the 3 points under your belt. Um, and then go on to Bournemouth next week. Because Bournemouth play decent football, but Bournemouth will
Yeah.
come out. Bournemouth are like Man City. They're going to come out to play against us. And the I mean, I'm thinking the game ahead, and I don't wish illness on anybody, but they were without Semenyo yesterday and Utara, and for me, I'm just like, no Semenyo, no Utara. I'm like rubbing my hands already for the game
Yeah.
down at Bournemouth. So yeah, but we need to get a win today. What we were talking about earlier, actually, we were talking about consistency. Consistency starts today. We need 3 points today,
Yeah.
and then we need 3 points against Bournemouth, and then you carry on, you roll like that. Just do you know what I mean? So for me for today, I'm going to go 3-0. Every team has defensive. Sorry, every team that you play against will have weaknesses and strengths. Um, but I find I don't see much at the moment to tell me that they're going to beat us in midfield. I think that if we play the same lineup as we had last week, I think our midfield will run through them. To be honest, and I'm not that they got Raul Jimenez who plays on its own up front, and if you can deal with Haaland, surely you can deal with Jimenez. And the other thing is, I think that they've lost Joachim Anderson, the centre half, because last week against Wolves they'd already made their 5 substitutions. Joachim Anderson got injured, so Fulham had to finish the game with 10 men. So I don't think he'll be playing as well either, which will be a big miss for the way that Fulham play, because he plays the long diagonal balls to the wings
Yeah.
and that. So he's not going to be in the side to do that. So for me, I'm unashamedly 3-0 to Tottenham. But in all honesty as well, I'd take a 1-0 win. I just want the 3 points and move on is what I want
Yeah.
to get the
Yeah.
consistency. But I'm going 3-0. If we won 7-0, I'd be happy as well. But 3-0 is what I'm
Yeah.
going to say.
But I mean, if we won 7-0, I'll be floating on the clouds. But
If you win 7-0, send me a video.
yeah, yeah. It'll be Ash with a head cold in the clouds, just chilling. And Niall's asking, do you remember an ex-player, Spurs player called Jonathan
Yes,
Buka? I remember him,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. He went on to play for many. He became a journeyman footballer. Um,
Okay.
and I think wasn't he playing for Notts County last season? I
Yeah,
think
I
he was
think
playing
so.
for Notts County last season. I'm not sure that he's there this season, but he definitely played for Notts County up until last season because he dropped
Yeah.
down and played for them in the National League, or in the conference, should I say, when they got promoted back into the League Two.
Yeah. It's guys like Tierney, Robertson, McGinn, Gilmore, McTominay, Ryan, Christie, Shea Adams. Scotland have a great midfield of quality.
But they
Um,
all play. They None of them play in the Scottish uh, Premiership now. Is what I'm saying. The majority of Scotland's squad play outside of Scottish Premiership.
yeah. Or if they're good, they get taken away from Scotland, like Robertson and all these players. Now I'll say 4-1 Spurs for me, Madison and Sunny Brace. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Paul,
And
mate.
Niall saying No Beaker was at Motherwell, played in Scotland for Motherwell and St. Mirren. He's now a first time coach at Motherwell for Beaker. Well, That's nice. That's nice that he's giving back to Motherwell. Um, so I first match prediction, I'm gonna go 3-1 Spurs. I think that we won't keep a clean sheet with this defense, but I think that we can get over the line. Honestly, like you, I'm perfectly happy taking a 1-0 victory. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm perfectly happy getting it. Because we either win big or we don't at all, somewhat. So let's hope. You're never late, Johnny. You are whenever you arrive is on time.
Johnny
As long as you
BG,
show
Johnny
up,
BG.
yeah, you show up, you like, you subscribe, everything's good.
Can you
Um,
can the people in the chat tell us what your score predictions are for today, please? With Ash is
yes,
giving you hers at the moment. I gave you mine. What do people in the chat say? We've got Niall Kane who said 4-1. But what does everyone else think? I want to see what the flavour is like this morning of the game. What do people think? Sorry, Ash. Go on.
yeah, because honestly, now that I know it's at home, I'm kind of positive about this game, like a little bit more positive than I was when I started this episode. So you brought me around, Jose.
Is
Um,
that, is that because we're playing at home today, Ash, and not away?
And then I'll say, I remember during World Cup break, Spurs actually played a behind closed door friendly against Motherwell at Spurs training ground. I think Spurs won 4-0, I think a few years back. It's going to be interesting because now we have another game in Scotland with Rangers. I always, I enjoy away days in Scotland. We don't get a lot of them. And I think it's one of those things where, like English teams going to Scotland, it's always a fun ride. It's always a fun game. I think it's worth repeating. Adrian saying 2-1. Everyone's predicting a Spurs victory. I love the confidence.
Morning,
Chang's with
evening,
me.
Chang.
Yeah, evening to you, Chang. And Chang is saying, think we'll concede, but I'm hopeful we'll score as well.
Chang,
Absolutely,
Chang, you
Chang.
doom and gloom, Chang. Doom and gloom.
Hey, I'm with Chang. We'll score as well. He's predicting a win. John is saying 3-1, which is my scoreline. Um, and Chang's also saying 2-1 Solanke and Sun. I'm so glad everyone's predicting Solanke goals in the chat. Um, and then Niall saying Old Firm is good for atmosphere. Rangers, Celtics, Spurs, and Rangers would be a great Europa tie. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I hope we go there with a strong team. I'd like to see us win in Scotland.
It'll only be
Rodney,
great if we walk away with a victory.
yeah. Rodney, with all that talk about potential, you're going for a draw, really? And then Niall saying, hello, Chang, the man with the mask. Yeah, the youngest looking old man on YouTube. And then Rodney saying, we never draw, it has to happen eventually.
First
Rodney
game
is
of the season, we drew 1-1 with Leicester.
basically Rodney is playing the law of averages, right? Because if it doesn't happen like fast enough, like eventually it will happen. Johnny saying nearly forgot your flowers. Yes, only person like uh I only get flowers on YouTube. Nobody gives me flowers in real life. I want flowers. If anyone's out there listening, and then Chang saying a very good morning, good Sunday morning to you from Southeast Asia. And that brings us to the end of this stream. Sorry, I have a slight cold, so we're gonna like get through the stream now. Jose, uh, when's the next episode? Where can we find you next? What's happening?
So what I will say is thank you to Ash for continuing to give you these shows on a Sunday morning. We're hoping, and I really am hoping, Ellie's not been well. She's on medication now, but she's still struggling. And I'm hoping that she's back sooner rather than later. And just for you, Ellie, I'm getting up early on a Sunday morning. So if you ever watch this on playback, Ellie, because she messaged me and said, I'm really, really sorry. And I said to her, you're ill. There's nothing you can do. I'm happy to be Josefina for Ash on a Sunday morning. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so firstly, best wishes go out to Ellie. I hope she's feeling better because the dynamic duo of Ash and Ellie have been missed. I am nowhere near an Ellie. So, hopefully that happens. Tomorrow we have a um, week 13 predictions results show. Um, For those people that are unaware, I did week 14, which is next midweek games. I did a show yesterday for that because I'm away with work next week. So that means that the results for week 14, next week's midweek games, will now be on Friday's show. And I will then do week 15 show on the same day. So it's going to be quite packed on Friday. But other than that, if people want to leave their predictions for week 14, I have put them all the fixtures plus the bonus games are all in the comments for yesterday's stream. So if people want
Yeah.
to get their predictions in, um, other than that, I think I'm on the Spurs review with Sava tonight and the panel tonight at 7:30. And then next week, yeah, I'm working, so it'll be a Monday show, and I will definitely be back on Friday. In between, I don't know what I'll be doing in between because I'll be working away. So yeah, I might do something Thursday, but otherwise it's going to be I'm on Sabbath tonight. I've got a show tomorrow, week 13 predictions, results show, and Friday it'll be week 14 predictions, results, and week 15's predictions. God, that was a mouthful.
Yeah. So everyone, make sure you tune in for that. And I am only 2 subs away from 250 subs on my channel. So if somebody who hasn't subbed could make that happen, links in the chat. It's called All About the WSL. And you can get a quick update on what's happening with the WSL teams without seeing the games, because I know most of you don't tune in. Some of you tune in. Na's always there, in and around. So if you could get me across 250, that would be great. I would really appreciate the subs. And with that, we can draw close to this episode. I hope we win today. Jose, any last words?
Mine are always I always say, "Come on, you Spurs," and in the big Ange, I trust.
Yeah. Come on, you Spurs.